Alright guys, welcome to Maddox News Live. Let me know how the audio sounds. This is the first time I'm doing it on the main YouTube channel, on my main YouTube channel in a while. It's been a minute, but let me double check and make sure everything's running smoothly. Okay, great, wonderful. Already, right off the bat, the comments aren't appearing. This is fantastic. Hang on. I may be able to set this up so we can get this going, and I'll give you guys an introduction if you guys haven't seen. Okay, the audio sounds good. You guys are saying cool. I may give you guys an introduction if you guys haven't seen this YouTube channel in a while or ever, or you don't know who I am, which is a huge mistake. You guys are fucking up. Thank you, Timothy Bayless says, Jeremy says, love the crown, really appreciate it. Let me see if I can add, I may be able to add the YouTube comments, and if not, then fuck it, we're just gonna do this without comments on screen, because you guys can already see the comments you guys are writing right now, so it's not a big deal. YouTube widgets, HTML live chat viewer, here we go. Yeah! Alright, maybe, I don't know if it's going to, yeah, I don't know, this is gonna be a pain in the ass. If this doesn't work, then we're just gonna go without comments on screen. We'll see. The widget's not connected. This is wonderful. This is exactly what I wanted to happen during a live stream. Okay, let's do this here. Alright, bear with me for 1 second. Let me make sure this works. This is the first time I've done it on YouTube, on this main YouTube channel, so we'll see if this happens real quick. If this doesn't work, then we're just gonna do it live. Who cares? Fuck it, we'll do it live. And there we go. We got the comments. Sweet. Awesome. That's what we wanted. This has been a Twitch setup mostly. We've been doing this mostly on Twitch, so if you guys see, you know, any kind of like anything Twitch related, that's why. Let me turn the opacity down on this thing and we should be good to go. There we go. How about that? Brilliant. And we can turn this to be, there we go, like a dark navy. Turn that opacity down. Hell yeah. All right, sweet. We're good. You guys can see it on the screen. All right, great. Cool. James says, I feel like this is my strange uncle I met once every year. Yeah, I haven't done this in a while. Okay, guys. So welcome to the stream. Give a subscribe or follow or whatever the hell it is on YouTube these days, in case you haven't already. And in case you guys don't know who I am, let me go through a brief introduction. All right, clearly I'm Maddox. I don't know why the fuck you're here. Actually, it might pop up on on the YouTube homepage. I think they're promoting live streams and stuff like that. But let's go through it. Let's give you guys a brief introduction into who I am and what we're doing here. So let's see here. Let me make sure that everything's running smoothly. Yeah, okay, we should be good. All right, cool. Make more videos. Aaron says, yeah, I will be. There's a lot more stuff coming. All right. Thank you, Friday. Thank you for the kind words. Excuse me, pardon me. Okay, here we go. Let's do this, guys. So I am Maddox, obviously, and here are my credentials. Let's just talk about my credentials, because I'm going to be starting to do some of these news streams every now and then. We'll see how this goes. A lot of people have been asking me to do news, especially because there's so much stuff going on in the world right now. It's just a constant stream of shit. And today, the Beirut bombings happened. So I'm the best person to cover this. I think that, you know, I am by far the most qualified, the best person to cover this thing. Oh man, I got this stupid zombie shit. All right, anyway. So I have a master's degree in everything. That is a fact. Thank you very much, the Giester. Thank you very much for the $2.99. I'll be reading super chats and stuff whenever I can, so keep those coming. Let's see. All right, cool. So I'll be reading the super chats and everything, but I have a master's degree in everything. If you guys are wondering about my credentials, why I'm talking about the news, why I'm covering this stuff, I'm going to be doing it because I'm an expert. So I'm also a hella smart and a genius. So if you guys are worried about that, like that's a big, you know, that's a big thing that I make sure that, you know, everybody understands how smart I am. And I also have badass skills. I'm really good at video games, roundhouse kicks, nunchucks, various weapons, hand-to-hand combat, close quarters combat, all that stuff. Super handsome, and I'm great at fishing. I'm really good at fishing. And I am the most trusted face in news. So there you go. Those are my credentials for this Maddox News. Why you're watching me cover the news right now, because there's a lot of, you know, you have a lot of choices when it comes to news, and I want to make sure you pick the best one. Here we go. Okay, let's get to the news, though. This is enough bullshit. Let's get to the actual fucking news here for a second. Let me turn that down a little bit. Why is that? Alright, this is, like, way too big. Alright, whatever, fuck it. So we've got, man, we've got, like, we got Twitch, we got YouTube. Everything's kind of streaming at the same time. Alright, fuck it. The Jester says, are you good at riding horses? What about making imitation vanilla? Oh, man, that's super gross. I just learned what imitation vanilla is made out of. It's super disgusting. But that's not why we're here. So we're going to cover, for real, we're going to cover the Beirut bombing shit, because this is out of control. You guys got to check this shit out. All right, whoops, hang on a second. There we go. Okay, here's what I want to cover, guys. This is really important. So I have here on the screen a map of Beirut right now. This is downtown Beirut. This is, if you guys haven't heard, I'm sure most of you have already, but this is where the explosion happened today. And this heat map that you're seeing right now is a heat map of basically the amount of activity that you're seeing from people posting stories online from like snap maps and things like that. So here we go. We're gonna go into depth here. We're gonna check and see. You can see kind of like what's going on in the city, where people are posting images and stuff from. Right now, the time in Lebanon, or time in Beirut, is 12:19 a.m. So it's about midnight right now, just after midnight. So you're going to see some posts on here from like at nighttime. But there's a lot of posts on here. So one of the important things, one of the reasons I'm covering this the way I'm covering it is because these snap stories that are being posted right now are going to disappear in 24 hours. So if they're not archived somewhere right now, and it's crucial that this happens now because who knows what can happen in the next 24 hours. There's a lot of chaos that's going on. The explosion was huge. I'm going to show you guys tons of different clips. I have a lot of different angles and stuff to cover from this explosion. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of the snap stories. Let me know how the audio sounds too. Let me turn down the audio and make sure it's not going to blast your eardrums. All right, cool. Let me pause the music here. So we're going to go ahead and get right into the news. We're going to take a look at what's going on here. So obviously, like if there's going to be some commentary in Arabic. I don't speak Arabic. I understand a little bit, but I don't speak it. We're gonna. Okay, we're not gonna. We're not looking at. We're not looking for that. This is. Okay, in one of these clips, you could. You could hear, in one of these clips, you could hear some, like, I'm not sure if it was like gunfire or explosions, but let's pop over here. There was some stories that we wanted to cover. Yeah, here we go. So these are some snap stories that have been posted. And I don't think that's one that's really been circulated too much on the news. I don't think people have seen this one. But that's the explosion that happened in Beirut 5 hours ago. Okay, that's a clip that a lot of people have been posting online. There you go. There's a really good shot of the pink smoke. So we're trying to figure out what exactly... I was looking at the chemical composition. The CIA and NSA, like the intelligence agencies in the United States, have some ability to determine what the chemical makeup is of an explosion based on the color and the characteristics, the color, the smell. Obviously, you don't want to get too close and smell this stuff. There's a lot of theories going on right now about what caused the explosion. Some people are saying it was a firework factory. Some people are saying that it was a missile factory. They were creating parts for like a smart missile or something like that. But let's go ahead and look at some of these angles. Like, so there's so much going on here. Let's take a look at this. Here is a video. Here's a really clear video from somebody posted on WhatsApp. Let me make sure you guys can see this. Yeah, okay, good. Should be okay. Listen, let me know how the audio sounds too, by the way. All right, that's a crazy big explosion. I was reading too that if you ever encounter one of these, if you ever see an explosion off in the distance and you can see the shockwave coming towards you, you should try to open your mouth and breathe out so that it equalizes the pressure in your body, because a shockwave like this can actually liquefy your brain. Let's see. Maddox 420. Yeah, there's a number of ways you could do super chats or use the tip stream. I'm not sure. Anyway, guys. So this is one of the clips that's gone viral. A lot of people, 42,000 likes, about 40,000 shares on this one. But there's a ton of different angles from these explosions. I'm going to play some of these. Let me make sure you guys can see this. Okay, yeah. So here we go. Check this one out. Okay, you see those little flashes inside? Now, those little flashes that are happening inside could be... There it is, there's the giant explosion. So those little flashes inside, you can see those little white flashes that could be consistent with fireworks or munitions. It's hard to tell. People are still, investigating this, trying to figure out what exactly happened. But there's two things to look at here. First of all, the light gray smoke. Usually light gray smoke is associated with a fire that's just starting. So when you have like forest fires and things like that, obviously this could be chemicals and munitions and who knows what else, a lot of different other things. But when you have a light gray smoke like this, it's usually because there is a fire that's just starting. And then when it gets dark black is when there's a fire that's kind of starved of oxygen. At least that's my understanding. You guys can confirm if you guys know in the chat room. But that's basically the analysis at this point. Like, it looks like it's a fire that just started. I mean, clearly, you still haven't had the giant explosion. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. You can see and hear a lot of small explosions happening. You can see those in that cloud right there as it's kind of growing. There it is. Really huge explosion. I wish we could play this in slow motion. Yeah, there we go. That is a crazy big explosion. Well, look at this in the where my mouse cursor is. I don't know if you guys can tell, but those are some birds. Man, those birds got fucked up. All right, so this is. I mean, the Shockwave itself destroyed. Look at these cars. Look at the cars that are driving along on this road over here. It just has been absolutely destroyed. Cars flying everywhere. There's been at least, I think last time I checked, they're saying there could be as many as 500 casualties or so. Okay, here's another. This angle is amazing. This one is from the it looks like from somebody on a boat nearby. But check this one out. That is insane. Look at the shockwave. Look at the shockwave as it comes across the water. Look how fast it comes too. Look at this. So you can see the big explosion happens. You see the mushroom cloud, and then watch the shockwave come across the water right here. You see this crest right here as it approaches the boat? Look how quick it is. It's faster than, much faster than you might expect. Look at that. And it hits the boat. The boat starts to rock. That is crazy. And that shockwave, people are saying they heard it as far as 150 miles away. Yeah, I wish I could slow this down to show you guys. All right, here's another angle too. So many people were recording this. It's hard to even tell what that dust cloud was. If it was, like what the mushroom cloud, what the components of it were. If it's just dust from the explosion surrounding it. But look at this thing. As it explodes, it's kind of a really dark red, burgundy type of smoke, which certain chemicals may burn. Ammonium nitrite, yeah, ammonium nitrate is what a lot of people are saying that could cause this kind of color. All right, I'm trying to read some of these comments too as they're coming through, but Dirk Diggler says your mom queefed. Thank you, Dirk Diggler. Very important commentary. Let's keep watching this though. So you have this giant dust cloud. It's hard to tell if it's dust or smoke at this point. It's just a giant shockwave. It might just be dust actually, because look, as the smoke or as this big cloud clears, you can see that initial shockwave pushes everything out. It might just be dust, and then you have the explosion, the fire still underneath once the dust cloud gets pushed away. Okay, here's another angle. Andre says it's condensation. Yeah, it could be.
Whoa.
Yeah, it might be actually condensation. You're right about that. That's a crazy. That's some crazy footage. That's absolutely insane. Helen says it's concrete walls. Decidedly an explosion instead of inflagration for sure. Looks like water vapor from a mushroom cloud. Thank you guys for the feedback. Let's watch this again. So this is a really good angle. It's one of the few that I've seen that isn't so close that the person has to put the camera down and run. But you can see that it's almost like there's two different fires or something going on. Like this one over here, and then this explosion that happens right next to it. Now I'm going to show you guys too. We're going to pop over here for a second. I'm going to show you guys exactly where we're looking at. This is the harbor, and this is approximately where the explosion happened, I believe. Unless, you know what, it may not be. It may not have been exactly here. Let me double check. There's another tweet I want to show you guys. Let's pop over to Twitter, because somebody posted a tweet. Now, there's a lot of conspiracy shit going on right now. There's people who are, you know, blaming Israel. Some people are blaming Hezbollah. You know, there's a lot of conspiracy shit. I'm not going to speculate on that, but I do want to show you guys this tweet from the Israeli Defense Force that was tweeted in 2018. It said, so they've alleged that Hezbollah, Iranian and Hezbollah accurate missile silo or manufacturing plant was being built around this area. Yeah, this is where it would be. They said that this is the site at the dock, and this tweet is from 2018. So who knows? There's got to be a lot of investigation. I don't want to speculate with some conspiracy bullshit, but it says the site at the dock. So that's approximately where it would be, right by the Rafik Hariri International Airport. So let's pop back over here and see if we can find the exact location on the map. So it looks like, I don't know, it's hard to tell. There's kind of a bay. You know, is someone in the chat room, I think, mentioned that they're from Beirut. If anyone's in Beirut, please chime in. I'd love your analysis. Let me know exactly where it happened. Was it this dock right here? I can't. Oh, it's actually probably this one right here. That actually looks familiar. Is that where the explosion happened? It's hard to tell. Let me double check here. Yeah, it's hard to tell. Here, this is what I'm looking at. This is the map that was tweeted out from 2018 from IDF. You see that? It's 300 meters, and then there is the... Here, I'll show you guys so you guys can see the full harbor right there. Does that look about right to you guys? I'm in Beirut. Who wants to bomb? What are you talking about there, Francois? Now, if you guys are actually in Beirut, let me know if this is the correct location, because this is what was tweeted out according to the IDF. Let's see what else they got here. Yeah, this harbor right here, which I can't quite tell which one it is. It might be up here somewhere. All right, let's take a look at this. There's a lot more snaps that people are posting. Now, of course, these are Snapchats that people are posting around midnight in Beirut. A lot of people are still trying to have a semblance of normalcy, so you might just see some random shit in here. Well, some guy hookah, some guy on hookah right now, but I don't know if we can find. Yeah, we already saw this one, I believe. Yeah, that was 5 hours ago. All right, let's go. Let's watch some more of these angles. Let me make sure you guys are watching the same thing. All right, good. All right, cool. So here is. This is the angle that we just saw, where you can kind of see the explosion. We already saw that one. Let's pop over to this one here we just saw, and then here's another one. By the way, just a heads up, some of this shit might be graphic. There is, you know, it's just the nature of news right now. There's some clips that are floating around from hospitals and stuff like that. So we'll just have to, you know, give you guys a warning. Nitrate, a lot of people, I don't know, there's a lot of speculation. There's got to be some investigation. One of the other conspiracy theories kind of floating around is there was supposed to be an international criminal court for the assassination of shoot, what was there was an assassination in Beirut. By the way, this is at the heels of a lot of protests and stuff that have been going on in Lebanon. Not a lot of people understand that there have been protests going on there because the country's been ravaged with COVID-19. A lot of people are upset with allegations of government corruption, incompetence with handling COVID, low employment, high inflation. People were just talking about the cost of bread doubling in Beirut. So it's, there's a lot. This like couldn't come at a worse time. This kind of shit that just happened. But let's go ahead and watch this video. Mainlight, people are estimating as high as 300 people may have died already. And again, this is at the heels of, the country has been ravaged with COVID. They said that the hospitals were near capacity with ICUs. So they don't have room right now. This is a really tragic situation. If you guys know anyone in Lebanon, if you guys know anyone in Beirut, check in on them, make sure everything's okay, because I guess things are pretty rough right now. I mean, look at that entire building is totally ravaged. It's insane. Let's check. Wow, that is nuts. Holy shit. I haven't seen this video yet. Man, look at that cloud. Somebody on Twitter is speculating that it's a Moab. I think, what is Moab? It's some giant type of bomb that they drop. It's not a Moab. You can see in multiple videos. There doesn't seem like any kind of missile strike or anything like that. If this was a missile strike, the explosions wouldn't come like in little bursts. You wouldn't have little explosions building up to big explosions. It's not. No, Mike Hannigan. No one has claimed responsibility. And what's important, what's interesting, is not only have people not claimed responsibility, but I want to show you guys this. There is a tweet by, I think somebody allegedly says that there's a source close to Hezbollah that says it's not Israel. Where is it? I can't find it anymore. There's a tweet on here. Oh shoot, you guys can't even see what I'm on here. Let me pop this up real quick. Let's see. Patrick Zard says there's a top view perspective that shows what happened the best. I'll look for that, Patrick, unless you have a link. If you have a link, go ahead and post it. I'll check it out. But there's some really gory footage. I don't want to show you guys like too much of that stuff. But here it is. Yeah, this guy's speculating it's a Moab attack. I don't think so. That's not. That's really unlikely. I really want to show you. Yeah, here's the tweet right here from OTV Lebanon. So this tweet, we'll put a translate on this. Says an informed source close to Hezbollah for the OTV says there is no truth in everything that is being circulated about the Israeli strike on Hezbollah. So this is supposedly or allegedly coming from a source that's close to Hezbollah. And if Hezbollah says that Israel is not responsible, it's most likely. I mean, they have every reason to try to incriminate Israel because they've been at odds for years. So if they're saying it's unlikely that it's Israel, then it's probably not. That's just a conspiracy theory that's floating around. A lot of people are making allegations. A lot of conspiracy theories going on right now. But let's pop back over to the map. I want to show you guys some more of this footage. We have so many angles of this explosion. Check this out. Holy shit. That is crazy. I haven't seen this angle yet. I thought this was a dash cam, but it looks like somebody holding it. Look at that. The cloud is so dense, it occludes the sunlight. It almost look at the difference in daytime and it almost goes to like nighttime. Look at that right there. In seconds, the sun gets blocked out. It's almost like dusk or something when the sun gets blocked out. The cloud disappears, goes back to daytime, and then seconds later the shockwave hits. There it is right there. You could actually calculate the speed at which that shockwave was traveling and probably estimate the size of the explosion. I think some people were saying it was a 20 kiloton explosion or something like that. All right, let's check it out. There's another one. Yeah, you can see again like a lot of tiny little explosions that are happening inside the cloud. Wow. This is really clear footage. Holy shit. I don't think I've seen that one yet. Zepox says it's condensed vapor from air. Wow, you can see what happens to this neighboring building right here. So I can't tell where exactly which harbor it is. Does anyone know? Yeah, nobody important says that's the scariest shit I've seen in a while. Yeah, it is absolutely insane. So watch this. As the explosion happens, look, wow, look at that. It knocks that building really hard. I mean, it's unlikely that building's still standing. Look how big that explosion is. It's insane. Hats off to whoever got this footage too, by the way. I mean, this is look. You can see. Look at what happened. Okay, watch this building in the foreground right here. As the explosion goes, it kind of decimates that building. It pushes the ground up as well. Look at that. The shockwave alone is causing the entire surrounding area to uplift. It's uprooting everything around there. There's no way this building is still standing. I doubt it. And then as that first shockwave passes, then you can see the before and after. You can see what happens to the buildings. A lot of buildings just wrecked. I'll tell you guys a story too. I have a personal anecdote. Nothing this big, but I'll tell you guys in a minute. All right, that's the footage that's circulating pretty widely on the news. Yeah, there you can see right there. Wow, so check out right here by the corner of this cloud right here. As the explosion spreads, there is some condensation. It's clearly condensation because it starts. The origin is right here where my mouse cursor is. Watch where that dot is right there. It starts at that location and disappears from that location. So it's almost like immediate condensation. It could be just from the intense heat that just happened. But also, you see this kind of hole in the cloud? It could be because there was a building in the front. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, so check this out. This building right here blocked some of that shockwave and created a hole in the cloud. Because watch where the hole in that cloud starts is at the top of this building. Watch this. There it is, and it kind of expands outward. So that's almost like the imprint of the building that was standing right there. It's really unlikely that building's still there. Let's check it out. DJ Burst says Hotel Gate 9 is the name of that building. All right, we'll take a look at that. A lot of broken windows. This is the first time I'm seeing some of this footage, by the way, too. So, you know, I can't anticipate if there's going to be anything graphic in some of these. Super Fine Guy says it's almost like an atomic bomb. Yeah, it's pretty intense. Yeah, Intrafunk, I'll be making some new videos and stuff soon as well. I'm working on a ton of new stuff. There's another one. I haven't seen this angle yet either. Yeah, that's the thing. So this is, again, coming at the heels of COVID. The country was already ravaged. There was a lot of protests going on. I'm going to show you guys some of that protest footage as well in just a second. Okay, this is a really distant shot of the explosion, so this will be interesting to see if they capture it all. This might have been right after the explosion, though, the main explosion. Yeah, this air can't be healthy to breathe. There it is. that's the shockwave. Let's watch that again. Oh, look at the clouds. Look at the clouds. As the shockwave kind of emanates through, look at the... It's pushing the clouds. Wow. Especially bright up here. Look at those. Let's watch that again. It's absolutely insane. Let's see. Sushi Base in the chat room says, news update, the explosion caused by the ammonium nitrate warehouse. That's the official Lebanon position. Ammonium nitrate. Is that ammonium nitrate? Ammonium nitrate. Let's see what that is. Oh, ammonium nitrate. Yeah, this is very caustic stuff. Ammonium nitrate is a chemical compound with the formula NH4NO3. It is a white crystalline solid and highly soluble in water. What's it used for, though? Used to make fertilizers and explosives, and as a nutrient in producing antibiotics and yeast. Ammonium nitrate is the ammonium salt of nitric acid. It has a role in fertilizers as explosives. So this is actually interesting because I think this was the same compound used by the Oklahoma City bomber, Timothy McVeigh. Let's see. There is the... Let's see. Yeah, it was ammonium nitrate. Here it is. I don't know if you guys can read this. Let me put this up on the screen so you guys can read it. Here, let me expand that a little bit. There you go. So it's right above my head. You know, get the. Hang on a sec. Try to. There it is. I don't know if you guys can read that. It's right above my head right here. So it says ammonium nitrate and nitromethane truck bomb is what he used. So this is pretty powerful stuff. If you guys don't remember, the Oklahoma City bombing was. This have here. Let me see if I can show you guys. Oklahoma City bombing. Yeah, so this is what happened in Oklahoma in, what was it, like the mid-90s or something like that? This is what a single ammonium nitrate truck bomb would do to a building. So who knows how much was in that? Like, that's an entire factory. Sushi Boss says they say it was around 2,700 tons. Holy shit, dude. I mean, this was... I think Timothy McVeigh used a single truck full of this stuff, like a U-Haul or a van or something like that. So I can only... I mean, you can see what the damage it caused. Stamu says I can't link you a video in chat, Twitter DM. It's not a trending video. Stamus, yeah, send me a DM on Twitter. I'll take a look at it. Or I don't know if you can. Tweet it at me, Stamus. I'll try to take a look at it. If you have a link you want to show me. Let's pop back over here to. There's also a bunch of stuff going on in Periscope. A lot of people are streaming in Periscope, but right now it's past midnight in Lebanon. There's a lot of people who are doing speculation and analysis. I guess there's still fires going on too. Let's check this out. This is the Mexico Post. Yeah, this is the fires are still raging, I guess. Is that accurate? Is this live footage? Can anyone confirm in the chat room? This is according to the Mexico Post. This might be live footage. We'll see. Let me check and see if I can find... Yeah, okay. Helen Atchison says it is Lebanon. Thank you. Spiro Corbett, thank you for confirming. Jamal Zion says, I'm from Lebanon. How are you guys handling? I want to read some of the comments. If you guys are from Lebanon, if you guys are in Beirut, how are your families? How are your friends? What is the mood in Lebanon right now? I'm curious what you guys are saying about this. Patrick Zard says, also that's Pier 12, where the explosion happened, is owned by Hezbollah, and everyone here knows it. And also, I wouldn't believe anything our government would say because they're Hezbollah puppets. Okay, so again, I don't want to speculate about that. There's a lot of conspiracy theories, but Juan Solo says there's also a live feed on YouTube. Lebanese president, is that Michael Aoun? Is that Michel or Michael Aoun said, that it is unacceptable that 2,700 tons of ammonium nitrate were stored in a warehouse for 6 years without safety measures. Yeah, I mean, it is possible. Look, let's apply Occam's razors to this thing. There's a lot of conspiracy theories. Could be, people are speculating anywhere from Israel to Hezbollah. Let's apply Occam's razor. The most likely explanation is the one that makes the least number of assumptions. So let's not jump to conclusions with conspiracies and things like that. It could have just been an accident. After all, I don't know if you guys remember the explosion that happened in China. Where was it? I think it was in Shanghai last year. It was bonkers. It was a huge, huge explosion. That was an accident as well. The large building at the base of the explosion is called Beirut Port Silos on Google Maps, meaning it was a storage silos most likely and not an apartment building or offices. That's true. Remlap, I'm not going to do the banana thing right now. I don't think that's appropriate. Zepok said you'd have definite confirmation about use of any nukes by early tomorrow. Yeah, you'd be able to know pretty quickly if there was any kind of nukes. I don't think that's likely. You can see in none of the footage there's any kind of missile coming in or anything like that. Patrick Zard says, least assumption, Maddox. We live here. We know these things. Says Patrick Zard. Okay, I believe you, Patrick. But there's still got to be some investigation to figure out exactly what happened, like what led to this explosion. There's a lot of questions, I think, still. Jamal Zain says, I blame it on Hezbollah and Israel. Let's see. Spiral Corbett says, if it was a nuke, they would need a missile. If it was a nuke, there'd be zero footage, thanks to EMP. I mean, that may be possible too, Andre. But actually, not really, because there's some of the footage is miles away too. Let's see here. Aaron Brandenburg says, Hezbollah isn't really making assumptions. They're a terrorist organization. I'm sure that there might be people who would. Okay, Rabid Kitten Apocalypse says, Occam's razor, Maddox went full terrorist so he could get views on Maddox. Okay, Rabid Kitten, good analysis there, dumbass. Let's see. Strawman Fallacy says, Anfo is ammonium nitrate and fuel oil source. I'm an engineer and blow shit up. Okay, Strawman Fallacy, if you're able to determine what the chemical components of that smoke was, because that was this big plume of pink smoke, and I know you can kind of determine what was causing that type of smoke to appear. I mean, obviously these dyes and things like that in smoke to give them color, but I don't think that's the case here. There's also some speculation initially that this was a firework factory. Is there any truth to that? Let's see here. Dafus Frost says there wouldn't be footage if it was a nuke. EMP travels faster than Shockwave and would fry or at least disable electronics. You might see a flash on the stream before it cuts off, but no aftermath. Yeah, that's an interesting speculation as well. If there was anything EMP related, it might knock out electronics in the area. And we know for a fact that they're still able to post videos, even. Okay, Stamoose says one of the tweets I shot you showed the pink smoke aftermath. Let me check this tweet by Stamoose and see if there's something I can put on stream real quick. And by the way, keep these coming at me. Tweet them at me. It's at Maddox Rules on Twitter. I'll try to put as much of this on as possible. Okay, here is the tweet that Stamoose just sent. Let me see if I can pull this up here. Let's see, one sec. There, let's throw it right there. Okay, you guys can see that on the stream? Yeah, you can. Okay, thank you, Stamoose. This is the tweet that Stamoose sent me. Let's check it out. Wow. That's absolutely insane. It looks like this guy's cell phone got knocked out of his hand, or her. What's interesting is whatever was in those silos, you can see lots of small explosions before the large one. You can see it as it kind of comes, as it happens, then finally it ignites something, the ammonium nitrate. Strawman Fallacy, I was waiting for your analysis because you can kind of tell what's in these, the components of the explosion. Is there a video playing right now? I can't tell. Ampho says highly incendiary, says David Faster. Thank you, David. Here we go. Mekun Channel says Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Tuesday warned the Lebanese terror group Hezbollah and others after Israeli forces said that they thwarted an infiltration attempt from Syria by suspected militants. Yeah, I haven't heard that, but here's the thing. I've read some analysis about this saying that neither Israel or Hezbollah wants any kind of escalation intentions because things have been tense for a little while now. Nobody's really prepared to do anything at this time. Let me show you some of this footage, though. I tweeted this out not too long ago about... here, let me pop over to my profile. 1 second. There we go. So there's a tweet I wanted to show you guys. There's a bunch of nonsense on my timeline. Let's see if I can find this this tweet here. It's basically some protest footage that you're not able to determine if it was Oregon or if it was Lebanon or Serbia or, you know, there's so many protests going on. Let me see if I can find this real quick. There, maybe this is it. Nope, not that one. Not that one. Okay, here's some protest footage from Russia. Just the amount of protests are going. Hang on, there's some errant video that's running in the background. I can hear it. Make sure all these are paused. Oh, you know what? It's the Periscope. It's this footage right here. Let me go ahead and mute that. There we go. So this is the live stream. We're going to check on that in just a minute. But let me show you guys some of this protest footage from Lebanon. This is pretty insane. Let's see if we can find... Yeah, here it is. Okay. This is... Or no, this is from Israel, actually. Let me make sure this is the footage I want to show you guys. Let's see if I can pop this up properly. Yeah, there it is. Okay, yeah, this is footage from Israel. So let me make sure that's the correct one. Yeah, this is from Israel right now. There's protests in so many parts of the world right now. I think that there's a combination. We're on the precipice of a world event, and I think that... Oh, here, let me read some of these comments before I go on with my analysis. Andrew Jackson says, my brother-in-law lives in Beirut and said it was a dynamite factory that supplied by nearby silver mines. Okay, interesting. That's a theory I haven't heard before. Spiro Corbett says, how can you even say that about Israel? What are you, an IDF soldier in intelligence? How can you say no one wants war? Clearly people want war. Clearly you're blinded by high hopes. I mean, this is just what I read. It's not my analysis. It's just what I've read in terms of, you know, conflict in the region. Because I mean, this is unrest that's going on in Israel right now, right? So all the protests and stuff that's been going on in Lebanon. Here, I just read this article from CNN talking about some of the protests in Lebanon as well, in Beirut. Yeah, so people are upset because the corruption in the government, mishandling of COVID-19 response, poor living conditions, hunger strikes and suicides, and protesters are clashing with the Lebanese army. So this was happening. I tweeted this out on July 24th, so over a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. I want to hear more from you guys. What do you guys think, especially if you live in Beirut, if you live in the region? I want to hear about some of the conflicts that you guys have been running into, the protests you guys have been having, because there's a ton of protests all around the world, all around the country. In the United States, there's protests in Austin, there's Portland, and here's what's also something that's not really covered in the news as much. But there's stuff going on all over the world. The news only has so many resources. I have correspondents everywhere, and those correspondents are called just my maps. But you can see here there's little hot spots all over the world. And of course, not all of these are protests and things like that, but there's a ton of stuff going on all around the world. And if you pop into any region inside the United States at night, any big city, there's almost always some protest footage. And there's not even enough stuff being covered in the news. There's not even enough, I guess, correspondents covering this stuff in the news. But, I mean, it's daytime right now in Times Square. I'm sure you're going to see, a bunch of tourist shit right now. Yeah, people are at the M&M factory in New York instead of the Beirut bombing footage. But let's pop back over here. I want to see what you guys are saying. Rusty Bladder says, I protest Maddox by protesting a protest with... Okay, great. Wonderful. Spyro, I'm using snap maps on this one. All right, let's pop back over to Beirut and see what's going on. we go. So you can see there's there's a bunch of stuff going on in Damascus too, but I don't think there's any protests or anything in Damascus, is there? I don't think there's anything going on in Damascus. Probably not, right? Yeah, it's just people bowling and stuff. Let's pop back over to Beirut. Where is it? Yeah. I wish I could see. Let's see what some of this explosion footage is. I've seen a lot of this footage already. So if you guys are just joining now, we're watching Maddox News. Oh, I haven't seen this one yet. Holy shit. Wow, that's intense. I think we saw this one earlier too. Yeah, if you guys could tone down the racism and anti-Semitism, that'd be great in the chat room. Really appreciate that. Thanks, guys. All right, Francois, I'll check that out in a second. Oh, yeah, check out this footage. This is really close by. This is insane. Let's look at this footage again. Look at this. Yeah, look how close this person was. I hope this person's okay, but check this out. Look at that. You can see right inside the factory as those tiny explosions are happening. You can see that right there. You can even hear that. Tons of little explosions. I mean, that does sound like firework explosions, potentially, right? Yo, what's up, Robert Manuel? I'm using snap maps on this one. Let's check out some of this footage here. This was 5 hours ago. It looks like a military response. I don't know what these vehicles are right now. A lot of broken windows. Jamal Zane says, "I sent you footage in Instagram." Okay, Jamal, I'll try to see if I can pull that up on screen. How did you send it to me? Like through DM? I might not be able to put that on screen if it's a DM. I'll check and see. Wow, this is nuts. I haven't seen all this aftermath footage. By the way, for those of you who don't know, Lebanon is a pretty affluent area in the Middle East. There's you know, a lot of shops, a lot of restaurants, a lot of people who live there. It's you know, got a lot of bayside real estate. I guess I haven't been to the beaches or anything, but I guess in Damascus they have those too. Check on your friends and family. Yeah, if you guys are in Lebanon and Beirut, I want to hear from you guys. See how you guys are handling this thing. Piss Pot Patty says, "Those are firecrackers. I know because that's exactly how firecrackers explode when they are in high quantities. We're talking tens of thousands of firecrackers at a time." Yeah, possibly, but I don't know. I've heard everything from dynamite stored for silver mining to you know, missile munitions and things like that. What in the hell is going on here? Okay, there's a ton of broken glass everywhere in Lebanon. I read an account by a journalist who said that she was knocked back. The shockwave knocked her on the back, and she had glass in her neck and her ankles, but she was okay otherwise. But there's a ton of people. There's some really harrowing footage of people in a hospital. And the hospital is just a mess because they were already at near capacity with ICU. Jamal Zane says, "My mom's glass broke." I hope she's okay, Jamal. Miguel says, "How does Israel benefit from more chaos in Lebanon?" I mean, who knows? This is... I don't want to speculate too much. Oh, what's up, Arrogant Media? Hang on a sec. There you go. Cool. You're a bot now. Handsome Jack says it was BL. No, it's not. You guys so dumb. Okay.
هذا اللي صار هلا بالحمراء بعد ما عرفوا شو فيه.
مدري ايش صاير في الحمراء.
Guys, stop thinking, start living. Alright, so we're going back in like a day ago before all this stuff happened in that Snap story. So, let's see if we can find any other footage we haven't seen yet. You know, as people get out of this this area too, they're able to finally get upload some of the footage that they've been taking of this event. So, we'll see. We'll see if we can find anything. Some broken glass 6 hours ago.
فوضى.
Wow.
هيدا الانفجار اللي صار. الله صار. يا عمي ما في شيء.
All right, so let's pop back over to this this footage here for a second while let me check some of this this Twitter stuff you guys are sending me. 1 second. All right, there we go. Yo, what up, Povich Babin? Zoom in, zoom out. Yeah, that's pretty annoying. Thank you, Master Al. Saying he's wondering if there's another book in the works. Yeah, possibly. All right, let's pop over to Twitter and see what you guys are sending me real quick. All right, Francois, I see this this tweet you sent me. Let me throw this up on the screen here, if I can. Let's go over notifications here. There we go. All right, this is a tweet that Francois in the chat room sent me. Oops, not this. Yeah, this one over here. So here are the photos I took of yellow and pink plumes. Thank you, Francois, for sending me those. How close were you, Francois, to the explosion? Master Al says, good to see you again, Maddox. Thank you, Master Al. Jody Life says, Beirut trending on Twitter has hella information. All right, let's check that, actually. Yeah, that's a good idea. So there's ammonium nitrate also trending on Twitter. Let's pop into, yeah, ammonium nitrate is trending, and then let's see what, so Israel pushes to sell biggest port in China. Okay, that's unrelated. Let's pop over to, oh, this is kind of fun, too. I don't know if you guys saw this quote, but there's Trump pronouncing Yosemite.
Seminites, towering sequoias, when they gaze upon Yosemites, towering.
Yeah, Yosemites is the word. That sounds about right.
Upon Yosemites, towering.
Yeah. Pretty good. Really, really solid. All right, let's pop back over to this ammonium nitrate. Well, why is PewDiePie trending? What did he get canceled for this time? Let's see what the hell is going on. Let's see. Oh, it looks like some donation stuff. All right, let's pop back over to. Oh, this is because PewDiePie's Spotify supposedly got leaked. All right, who cares? What is he listening to? Kiro Bonito's great. I love Kiro Bonito. Sophie, Rena, Slater, Arca, Rico Nasty, Yves Tumor. I don't know half that shit, but I like Kiro. Okay, let's pop back over to Twitter. Let's look at this ammonium nitrate shit that's trending. Let's see. Let's see there. Oh, thank you, Povich Babin says, sent a tweet of the explosion. Not sure anyone did it already. I'll check in a second, Povich. Here's something from BBC. It says, Beirut explosion has killed dozens and injured thousands, officials say, with hospitals struggling to cope. Yeah, they were already under duress because of COVID. Wow, look at that shot right there. You can see the huge fireball. This is right before the cloud kind of occludes the explosion. This person says, Jeffrey B. Ward says, a little math, 1 ton of ammonium nitrate is roughly 925 pounds of TNT. The smallest nuclear bomb is equivalent to up to 1,000 tons of TNT. So this is, it seems like people are saying it's approximately the size or the impact of a nuclear bomb. The smallest nuclear bomb, a W-54, is equivalent up to 1,000 tons of TNT. Report that tens of tons of ammonium nitrate exploded in Beirut today, which could be equivalent to a small nuclear bomb. In terms of the impact explosion, Quacker T2 says calcium is orange and sodium is also orange. Google Minus says explosions forgotten. PewDiePie's music taste is leaked. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're not going to cover that. All right. Just to put it in perspective how large that blast was in Beirut today. The Oklahoma City bombing in 1995. Remember, we were talking about this earlier today, too. I talked about it earlier on the stream, the Oklahoma City bombing. The Oklahoma City bombing in 1995, carried out by Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols, was 2.5 tons of ammonium nitrate and other chemicals, while the blast in Beirut was 2,750. Holy shit, man. So this was the Oklahoma City bombing. That's what is it? 2.5 tons of ammonium nitrate did to one building, and this was 2,750 tons of it in Beirut. It's absolutely devastating. There's some helicopters trying to drop some fire retardant on the explosion. Google Minus says 3,000 to 5,000 kilograms worth of TNT is equal to a small nuclear. Yeah, looks like it. I mean, if you notice the buildings within a block kind of just vaporized, I can see how it was as powerful as a small nuke. Yeah, I hate to know like how many people are actually impacted by this thing. All right, let's pop back over to. Let's look at some of this, some more of this news. Yeah, here we go. This footage. I'm not going to play that footage from the hospital. It's pretty gory. There's some stuff that it's pretty gory. But let's check this out. All right, this is footage I haven't seen yet. This was just posted, I think, just 3 minutes ago. Wow, holy shit, dude. Absolutely devastating. It'd be a good idea to get out of these buildings as quickly as possible because it's uncertain how much structural damage has happened to some of these buildings. Yeah, leather clad. I was thinking the same thing. That is nuts. Here's that bug footage. Really incredible footage. Yeah, a lot of people try and cover. Oh, this is some. Is this in Lebanon? I can't tell. Yeah, it is. Wow, look at that. As soon as the explosion happens, she runs over and grabs the kid. That looked like it was kind of a balcony. So thankfully there wasn't any glass right there too, because that could have caused a lot of problem. So let me tell you guys my own personal anecdote. I've told this on my podcast back in the day, but my own personal anecdote with this, is, totally unrelated to this Beirut explosion. But a while back, I have relatives in Syria, and one of my aunts was in her apartment building one day, and she received a phone call from somebody that warned her to go to her bedroom. And she didn't recognize the voice, and she asked who it was, and the guy said, just take your son and go to your bedroom now. So she did. She called her son, my nephew, Piero, into her room, and as soon as they walked into the room, the building exploded. And this was, I think, like 4 or 5 years ago or something like that, when there was a lot of unrest. It was right around the Arab Spring when there was, different factions that were protesting and fighting against the government. And the building exploded. She went flying against the wall and fell down and got up. She was okay, thankfully, but she had like glass, little bits of blood all over her from I guess little particles and projectiles and things like that that entered her body. Her son flew against the bed, thankfully, and he was okay too. They both survived, but the building was completely destroyed. And I have been inside this building before. It's kind of like an apartment complex in Syria, and I saw pictures of it in the news, and you can't even recognize it. It looks like the Oklahoma City bombing. This picture right here is the Oklahoma City bombing. That's what this building looked like. And I had been inside it before. This looks like a bombed out building from Iraq or wherever else you see that kind of footage in the news. But it's hard to tell that anyone ever lived or was inside any of these buildings. I mean, this devastation. Oh yeah, there it is. There's that building that was right next to the explosion. You can see it's just the basic facade is held up right there. I'm actually surprised that much of it even withstood the blast. But you can see here, everything around it has been completely demolished. The foundation here has been completely shook. Yeah, you can see the port right there. Just absolutely devastating. Spyro Corbett says Maddox is a pretty cool dude. You can tell he has some Persian DNA. Yeah, a lot of people think I'm Persian. I get that a lot. A lot of people speak Farsi to me. Voltan says 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate stored in the middle of a city might as well have been an ammo depot exploding. Yeah. Let me see if I can find that footage from China too. This is insane. If I can find that footage, let's see. Before I do that, though, let me pop back over to this. This is live footage of the fires, I guess, in Beirut. Let's see if I can find this. The explosion from China was pretty nuts. Yeah, here it is. The Tianjin, China explosion is 2015, so it didn't happen last year, but this is some insane footage. This is so before we speculate too much about what happened in Beirut, we gotta wait for all the facts to come out because we still don't entirely know. I mean, there's the government explanation, but some people are skeptical of that.
Holy shit. Fuck yeah, I'm videoing it.
This is in Tianjin.
What the fuck?
This YouTube channel is John G. Verzicht.
Fuck yeah, it's a guess. Whoa!
There it is.
Oh, what the? Holy shit! No fucking way! Oh shit! Oh shit! No, baby! No!
Are we dangerous here?
Yeah, we're dangerous. Oh my god! Oh dear!
Are you filming?
Yes, I'm filming!
Whoa! Whoa! I think we are dangerous.
That's one of the biggest explosions I think I've ever seen.
Let's go! Let's go!
I mean, they seem like they're far enough away from the explosion to not be impacted by it, but not so far that they can get the entire explosion in the frame of the camera. There's some more footage of that. So again, this was in China. This was in 2015 in Tianjin, and they also had, I think it was just an accident that happened in this chemical factory.
I think that might be a gas.
This channel is Argentina Shellite
Whoa! Oh!
Tianjin explosion. Okay, there's a compilation. We already saw that one. Let's see if we can find some of this other footage here.
Oh my god! Let's go! Let's go down!
Yeah, I heard some more footage.
Oh my god! Oh shit! Oh my god! Look!
Wow.
Look, guys!
I mean, these things do happen, so it's important not to jump to conclusions with this shit. Yeah, Jeremy Wales. I mean, they said this was an accident.
Oh my god!
You got it, Mike Zabo.
走开！
Jamal Zain gave us an update. Says 3,000 injured and 70 dead so far. Thank you, Jamal, for the update. That is nuts. A A lot of huge explosion. And then you could see the next day, too, the fires were still raging. Yeah, this looks like some drone footage. Wow, just devastated all the buildings surrounding. That is nuts. What are those, shipping containers? They look like melted shipping containers. It's hard to tell. There, you see some more, like some of that pink smoke. Holy shit, look at that. That is nuts. Yeah, you see some pink smoke right there too. Shipping containers wrecked. You know, it's interesting. This also seemed to have happened in a harbor city as well. So it's possible, you know, it's possible that that all this was just an accident, like a real tragic accident. So I also want to see if I can find some of this footage of the protests in Lebanon, because that's been going on for a while now. Someone else said they sent me some footage or something to check out on Twitter. If you have, so Francois on Twitter says that's a greater than 10-kilometer radius. I had to leave, internet connection is breaking up, but trust me, it was no fertilizer or firework explosion. Cheers. Okay, so Francois, who was in Beirut and earlier in the chat room, said that it was not a firework explosion. Pavic Bavin also. Oh yeah, we already played that footage. Pavic, thank you for that that footage. All right, guys, let me see if I can find some of this footage from the Beirut protests real quick. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. So this was 4 hours ago in. All right, if you guys can see that on screen, yeah, good. Okay, so this is the Lebanon protest. This was as of 4 hours ago. Someone posted that. For neurodivergent people, here's a website that explains the Lebanon crisis a little easier for those who have trouble with long and confusing websites. Please share. Coronavirus, protests, an economic and a political crisis, and now this. Lebanon has gone through absolute hell, and it is our duty as humans to help in any way we can. What has happened to this poor nation is absolutely devastating. My thoughts and prayers go out to Lebanon, this person says. Spiro says, talk about who may be responsible, not which weapon it is. I mean, it's all speculation at this point. There's no point in really speculating at this point until there's a more thorough investigation. People are going to, like, let's just say, hypothetically, that we were able to conclude, like, I came out and said, okay, guys, we found out who it was, or it's this party or that party. No one's gonna, there's always gonna be people who are going to dispute it. There's always gonna be people who are gonna think that there's a conspiracy, that there's some kind of, cover up, that it's, you know, some other party. There's, you know, until there's actual evidence and an investigation, a thorough investigation done, it's just all speculation at this point. I don't think it's important. It's helpful to do that. I can just read and see like what some of the comments and stuff are saying. All right. Yeah, they've had so many. And this is like right on the heels of all the protests that have been happening too. Yeah, here's the technology. What Lebanon has gone through this year: fire, protests, economic crisis, COVID-19, and a huge bomb. All right, we don't need that. Yeah, this has been going on for a while, and I heard that there was a huge uptick in suicides in Lebanon too. Yeah, I heard some footage. This was 7 hours ago. Lebanon protests today broke out in energy ministry to protest long electricity cuts and a call on Minister Gajar Raimonto to leave. Several have been injured by security forces, at least one taken to a hospital. It's interesting. By the way, so what's interesting to note when we're watching this this footage is that this looks so familiar. This is exactly. Spyro says you're speculating on weaponry. No, I mean I don't know, Spyro. I'm just reading what the reports are saying. I don't know what Packers is. What a soundtrack. I'm gonna wash my dishes. All right, best guy. Thank you for the update. Nadim says, hey Maddox, I'm Lebanese. If you have any questions, please ask. Yeah, Nadim. Well, first of all, is your family and friends okay? You know, what's the sense like there on the ground if you're able to talk to anyone in Lebanon? And also, I'm trying to get a better understanding of the of the unrest, the unrest that led to the protests. I'm trying to get a better understanding of that. Nadim says, thanks, Maddox, all are fine and good. I'm glad to hear that. I just hung out with a Lebanese friend the other day. Wow, that is insane footage. I just hung out with a Lebanese friend the other day, and we were talking about how devastating the protests have been right on top of, you know, the COVID epidemic. Okay, so until we get more updates, I think that's pretty much it for the Lebanon explosion. There's not much else to do right now other than take a look at some of this footage. I'll play some of this footage again that we showed earlier in the stream for those of you who are just joining us. Yeah, this is some really intense footage. Alright, here's another one. This is that boat footage. Really intense. That shockwave comes so fast, it's nuts. Andre says, who are you and why am I subscribed to you? I don't know, Andre. Why don't you figure your shit out, dumbass? Like, you're the one who subscribed. I didn't fucking subscribe you. Jamal Zain says, yo, Maddox President. How do you pronounce that? Is it Michael or Michelle? Michelle Aoun tweeted that it was unacceptable that 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate was stored unsafely. Yeah, I think I read that earlier too. Thank you, Pavic, for the 2. It says, is your Lebanese friend named Mia Khalifa? Pavic, you knew. You got me, dude. Alright, let's check out some of this footage. Well, we've already seen a lot of this. I'm going to show... So, yeah, it's just really tragic what happened. Chewing Love says, thanks for the 5, says, keep it up. I love the news segments. Thank you, Chewing Love. I'll try to do more of these. I don't know if you guys are digging it, but if you are, give me a follow or subscribe or whatever. I'm also doing streams on Twitch 3 times a week. Twitch.tv/RealMaddox. My uncle's been streaming on there. He is a cowboy, so if you guys want to see that, I'm doing that 3 times a week with my uncle. Let's pop back over to the snap maps and see if we can see anything here. Thank you, Pavic, for the 2. Really appreciate that. Let's see if there's anything else going on. Any new footage? No, this is just... There's like just some regular stuff going on here too. This looks like it's pre-explosion snap stories. And this one might be snap stories during, yeah. This was like 4 hours ago, I guess. Wow, a lot of devastation in Beirut. Yo, call the cops. Thank you, man. Good to see you, homie. Hell yeah. It wouldn't be a snap story without some pistachios. You gotta have some pistachios. Alright, that looks like it's stuff from... This still looks like it's live footage, I think. Let me double check here. Yeah, it is. Okay. Alright, guys. I'm going to run to the restroom real quick. I'll be back. We're going to cover... I just want to cover the Boulder, Colorado... I think it was Boulder, or yeah, was it Boulder or Aurora? I think it was Boulder, Colorado. There was some police stuff that happened, and then I just want to wrap up the stream with a quick thing about the bands that I don't listen to, which I'll take some of your suggestions. But I'll be right back. 1 second here. Let me put this on. There you go. There you go. All right, cool. 1 second. I'll be right back. All right, guys, we're back. So, there's one other thing I wanted to cover today. We'll see if we can get to... Yeah, so here's something that happened just yesterday. This is some like pretty insane footage. Came out of Aurora, Colorado, I think. Yeah. So here's what happened. There was a police pulled over this car that they thought was stolen. Yeah, Aurora. It was Aurora. Thank you, Quackert. So police pulled over this car. They thought it was stolen and put basically the entire family in handcuffs. There was a 17-year-old girl, a 12-year-old girl, I think a 6-year-old. They didn't put the 6-year-old in handcuffs, I guess, but they put them all face down on the asphalt, guns drawn, and it turned out they didn't even have the right car because they weren't even looking for a car. It was supposedly a stolen motorcycle. So here's this footage. Everyone is rightly outraged about this, but check it out. I mean, you can see there's like, I think that's a lady. Yeah, it's a lady right there. Some kid, a 12-year-old in handcuffs. I think that's a 17-year-old right there. By the way, this is Aurora, Colorado. Like, what was the temperature? Let's see what the temperature was. Aurora, Colorado weather. So the temperature, it's been in the 90s, guys, all week long. Like right now, it's in the 90s. So this is, let me see if I can pull this up. Yeah, so it's 90 degrees in Aurora. So imagine yourself being laid face down on the asphalt in 90-degree weather. And these weren't even, these weren't even the right suspects. These were just people that they mistook for, someone else. So this is pretty nuts. Like, imagine laying down on 90-degree asphalt. Or 90-degree weather on hot asphalt like that. I mean, look at this kid over here. Why the fuck is the kid laying down? I mean, look, people make mistakes. I get that, right? I'm not anti-police. I'm not one of these, like, old cops or bastards guys. I'm just not one of those guys. I think that that people are people no matter what walk of life that they come from, and people are going to make mistakes. But with these, when you make mistakes, you should be held accountable, especially when you have authority and those mistakes lead to lives being lost, right? This is what happened here when these cops pulled over this family, mistaking their vehicle for a motorcycle. This is absolutely insane. I mean, use your fucking common sense. I read a news article about this where they said that a spokesperson for the police department said that they don't have a written policy for when they have a high-risk stop. So they consider when they pull people over for supposedly a stolen vehicle or anything like that, that it is a high-risk stop. But it is up to the discretion of the police officers, the responding officers, whether or not to have guns drawn and whether or not to interpret that as a high-risk stop. Arrogant Media says, did you see that George Floyd body cam footage was leaked? I did. So, I think that with the body cam footage with George Floyd, I read a tweet that pretty much summarized it. It said people are going to see what they want to see in that footage. And I think that in some ways it clarifies things, in other ways it raises more questions. One analysis, like people who are more anti-BLM, anti-protesting, have kind of interpreted that footage as George Floyd was already saying he can't breathe as he was shoved into the car. But if you watch, my interpretation of that is he was having a panic attack. Clearly, he told the officers that pulled him over, like he was having a panic attack before his window was even rolled down because he said he's been shot before. But also, the autopsy did find some substances in his system. Some people are speculating he could have been having a hyper response due to some of the substances in his system. Whether or not that's the case, I do believe if you've been shot before, you are probably going to panic, especially with some of the footage and interactions people have had in the news with police officers. He probably, and now in retrospect, rightly, feared for his life. When he was shoved into the back of the car, the police officers, to be fair, did offer to roll down the windows. But as he was shoved into the back of the car, the windows were still not rolled down. So maybe he was having a panic attack, and he started to say inside the back of the car that he couldn't breathe. Now, there's multiple reasons you might not have the ability to breathe. Sometimes when you're having a panic attack, you start to hyperventilate. I don't know if you guys have ever been around somebody who's having a panic attack, but that's something that does happen. You get short of breath, and you do have difficulty breathing. So when he's in the back of the car, if what he... Look, I don't know the guy. But if what he said is true, and there's some information to be able to corroborate that, he could have been having a panic attack and hyperventilating. That's a legitimate thing that could happen. But then on the ground, when he said he couldn't breathe, that was obviously due to his chest being compressed on the pavement, maybe some pre-existing comorbidities, but also the knee on the back of his neck for 9 minutes. The guy said he was going to die. The guy said he couldn't breathe. At some point, his body went limp. I mean, at some point, enough is enough. The commanding officer, the responding officer, with his knee on his neck, should have used better judgment. And I think that's part of the reason people are protesting the police right now, and to some extent, rightly so, because this kind of bullshit fucking happens. This isn't just like, look how many, there's like 4 fucking officers, 4 officers here, and none of them have the decency, the common sense to say, hey, enough is enough. We don't need to put a fucking 12-year-old child face down on asphalt. What the fuck are they putting a child on asphalt for? Like, what is the point of this? What is the point of this stop? They're supposedly trying to, investigate a stolen vehicle. How about just do some very basic fucking due diligence? You know, someone on Twitter was saying that, well, these officers were just responding to a stolen vehicle report because, to be fair, this person's vehicle, this SUV that you're seeing pulled over right here, was reported as stolen earlier this year in February, but it was returned the next day. So there might have been some incompetence or negligence at, just on a clerical level, and the police office, the office, right, the paperwork that was filed, something fell through the cracks, and I understand that. And they said that the license plate on this vehicle matched a license plate of another stolen vehicle that they were trying to recover. But the other stolen vehicle was a motorcycle. So just on a very basic level, they didn't do some just basic fucking due diligence. And then finally, the final nail in the coffin here is that they used their own discretion and decided that this was a high-risk stop. And the police department spokesperson themselves said that they don't have a written guideline. It's up to the discretion of the responding officer. So the responding officers pulled over this car full of women and children and pulled them. Not that women can't be, criminals or violent or any number of things, right? Not that can't happen. But they pulled over this family and decided at their discretion, this is a high-risk scenario. Let's draw our guns. Let's put these fucking children face down on asphalt. In 90-degree weather, on hot asphalt. This is what happened.
This is some bullshit. You have guns on that kid.
I mean, look at this lady here. Look at this officer here. Okay, there's 4 officers on the scene. There's almost 1 per person, right? And really, kids are like half people. So there's like 1, kids are little guys. It doesn't take an entire officer to restrain a single kid, like especially a 12-year-old. But look at this lady. Look how ineffectual she is. She doesn't know what to do at this point. She just puts her hands on her thighs. Look at this. She just kind of shrugs. She's still bumbling about.
Bullshit. You have guns on that kid.
Look at her. Just hands on her thighs, like she doesn't know what the fuck. What did she do? What is her purpose? Right? The fuck is her purpose? This person is just like standing around, not doing anything. 12-year-old kid laying down. Bubble Fart says to look good. 12 says she can't bend over. Nice. Oh, nice. It's so nice of them to kind of like, you know, once they've already pulled up guns on this family, just trying to travel. And by the way, this family was in this mall. I guess this was a strip mall. They were there to try to go to a salon that turned out to be closed. You can see they're all wearing masks. They tried to go to the salon. Salon wasn't open, and then the cops pulled them over, and then they evaluated it as a high-risk stop. So this is what happened. This is the problem that people are having, and this is part of the reason that people are protesting right now, and understandably so. And I'm not one of these guys that is like an absolutist. I'm not saying, all the protesters are right, because, you know, some of the protesters have definitely gone too far. They've destroyed businesses and things like that, and people try to justify it with any number of excuses. They say, oh, the business has insurance. Well, guess what, guys? My friend's business got destroyed in the riots in Los Angeles. And insurance doesn't cover riots. A lot of insurance doesn't cover riots. And even if you think they have insurance, there's still stuff in those buildings that are irreplaceable. Like, for example, my friend's building, and I'm going to talk about this in a video that's coming up, and I'll get into more detail. But my friend's building was, her dad, I think, is 80 years old. This building is his life. Like, he put everything into building this business from ground up. He's an immigrant to this country. He put his life savings into creating this little store and getting his piece of the American dream, right? Like building this business. And it was vandalized and destroyed and burnt during the riots. That's not fair. And what's lost in that building wasn't just the merchandise, which is replaceable. Fine, you can replace merchandise. But what was lost in that building was his wife's memories. His wife passed away 2 or 3 years ago from cancer. And some of her last remaining belongings were in this building. So to say that you can just destroy buildings with impunity and insurance will cover it is also a fallacy, and it's also wrong. And the reason that people are protesting is because of shit like this, and that's wrong too. So I'm not one of these absolutists who can't acknowledge the debate on both sides, right? There is something to this problem of police brutality and excessive force. This is just irresponsible at this point for this kind of shit to happen. And this isn't just a one-off. I'm not just cherry-picking this shit. There's something I covered on my stream the other day. It was... Here, let me see if I can pull this up. This is... yeah, here we go. So it's a police officer. So here's something that's kind of misleading about... Oh my god, there's so much footage of shit like this. Okay, here's something that's kind of misleading about the George Floyd story. So a lot of people have kind of pointed out that, oh, George Floyd wasn't this innocent guy. He had prior criminal record, blah, blah, blah. Look, I get it, okay? He doesn't have to be a fucking saint. I don't give a shit. Like, who the fuck is George Floyd? Who the fuck was George Floyd to me before he got killed, right? Like, I didn't know the guy. Most people didn't know the guy. He's some dude who lived an imperfect life. He'd done drugs and robbed people in the past, and he did his time. He went to jail. He's just some fucking dude. I don't give a shit, right? No one knew who he was before he got killed. And nobody really cared before he got killed, because he's just some guy. But when that happened, people started scrutinizing his record, right? His life history, like everything that the guy's ever done. And they went through and they started saying, oh, well, he robbed a woman and then held a gun to her stomach while she was pregnant. As far as I can tell, everything I've read, there's no evidence that he held a gun to a pregnant woman's stomach. He definitely held a gun to a woman's stomach, according to police reports. But I don't find anything in there in the news that she was pregnant at the time. And I looked on Snopes, I looked on all these like fact-checking websites. They said there's no evidence that she was pregnant at the time. And they've done follow-ups with the person. They haven't found any evidence of that. Papa Chababin says, people riot property. Let me read this comment real quick. Thanks for the super chat there, Pavic. Says, people riot, property values go down, people don't want to invest in the area, people riot, and then the cycle continues. Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate. That is a lot of what's happening. But they're saying, okay, George Floyd supposedly held a gun to a pregnant woman's stomach. That, as far as I can tell, didn't happen. But, you know, it has happened. It did happen with cops. Like, there's actual footage here. It's really difficult to watch, so I'm not going to show the whole thing here. Let me see if I can close this fucking... Okay, there we go. So here's some footage. I'm going to try to show you guys. I'm not going to play the whole thing because it's really hard to watch. But this is really important to see. I'm going to talk about this in an upcoming video. So this is kind of a preview of what's to come. But check this out.
Okay, thank you, because my dad's a police officer too. Okay, I don't either. 25 years, okay.
Okay, watch carefully in the next few seconds what happens in this interaction. There's a police officer. He's called to the scene. I think it was like a strip club or something. This woman went inside and allegedly caused a scene. She was confronting either an ex-boyfriend or a boss or something like, I don't know, something happened inside this club. There was some kind of commotion. She got upset, supposedly, you know, threw some food on the floor, something like that. Something happened inside this club, right? She may have been rowdy, whatever. You can tell she's kind of agitated here. She was trying to leave the parking lot, and the bouncer, the security guard, blocked the car. So as the security guard blocked the car, he called the cops. Cops show up, and here's the exchange that happened. Pay real close attention to the next 5 seconds.
So, whatever you want to do, pull me out the car, go ahead.
Okay, did you see that? Watch what happened again. I'm going to show it to you again because this is really important to watch what happens. She says, you want to pull me out of the car? Go ahead. Watch what he does.
Pull me out the car, go ahead. Don't reach in my car.
Why is y'all doing all that?
You can't reach in my car. What are you doing? Like, no, what is he
Why is y'all doing all that?
Okay, you guys saw what happened. He reached into her car, tried to unlock the door, tried to open it up, right? So let's go ahead and watch this.
What are you doing? Why is you doing all that? Why the fuck is you doing all that? Are you serious? On her neck, though? Why is you kneeing on her neck, though? That's weird.
Look at that, knees on her neck. And by the way, this woman is pregnant. Watch this.
Why is I kneeing on her neck, though?
Okay, that's about as much as the footage that I'm going to show. This is really graphic, and I can't, like, it's hard to watch. But he's tasering her pregnant stomach. All right? So you guys want to talk about George Floyd holding a gun to a woman's stomach. There's no evidence that she was pregnant. There's no evidence that happened other than he did supposedly hold a gun to the woman's stomach, which is wrong by all measures. I mean, the guy doesn't sound like he's an angel, all right? I'm not saying he's like some fucking perfect guy. But this fucking cop tasered her pregnant... You can tell she's pregnant in this fucking photo, in this video. He tasered her stomach. Now, this is hard enough to watch as it is, right? This is pretty rough footage. This is far from the only incident of a cop tasering a pregnant woman in the stomach. I can show you at least 3 or 4 videos of this kind of shit happening. Now, remember I told you guys to watch and pay attention to that 5 seconds of that video? Now, here's something that you guys should check out. Some background. The passenger in Satchel's vehicle caught the incident on camera, with the video evidence appearing to contradict much of Martel's account of what happened that night. The video was turned over to investigators several weeks ago, who concluded that Martel's arrest report contained several false statements. The officer had claimed that Satchel closed the window of her car on his hand and resisted arrest by kicking before punching him on the lip. That didn't happen. You guys saw the fucking video. Thank God someone recorded that video, because if that video didn't exist, they would have taken the officer's word for that. Right? He claimed in his fucking police report, this guy straight up lied in his police report and said that she closed the window of her car on his hand and then kicked the officer before punching him on the lip. I mean, it's hard to tell what happens because the footage gets obfuscated there. But watch what happened in this video. Watch what happens. Do you guys see the window rolling up on his hand? No, he reaches into the car, And then she says, what are you doing reaching into my car? Pushes his hand up, but she didn't roll the windows up on his hand, which would have been assault, right? If you tried to close the windows on an officer's hand, that's definitely assault. But that didn't happen. That's what he wrote in his police report, that she rolled up the window on his hand. The window's still the entire time. The window doesn't move. Her hand doesn't touch the window button. So he tasers this pregnant woman in the stomach, lies in his police report, and then people are saying, oh, well, why are people protesting? And look, I think this is bigger than just BLM or, any kind of umbrella or label you want to put this under. This is bigger than that. This isn't just about Black Lives Matter. Because this is, people like to point out, what about all lives? Don't all lives? Yeah, dipshit, of course. But all lives matter doesn't stand for fucking anything. It's not a movement. It's a response to a movement. If you think all lives matter, then fucking do something about it. When all lives matter becomes a thing, you guys will be out on the streets protesting this kind of shit, no matter who it happens to. But you're not. All lives matter only appears as a response to Black Lives Matter. That's it. It stands for fucking nothing. All lives matter means no lives matter. You guys don't give a shit about anything. You just fucking don't. If you guys stood for anything, I would fucking join All Lives Matter in a heartbeat. But you don't. You don't stand for anything. You stand against something. Right? It's the most chicken shit, cowardly, oh, what about all lives? Yeah, dipshit, great. You want a fucking rhetorical argument. But on the other hand, and this is like, something I'm kind of giving you guys a preview of what I'm going to talk about in this video. But on the other hand, sometimes people point out like, well, it's not, race isn't the primary motivating factor. That may be the case. Right? Because I believe that, actually. I don't think that race is the primary motivating factor in a lot of this stuff, but it is a factor. We have evidence of that. We know that black people are more likely to be get into a violent altercation with police with similar types of crimes. We know that they get harsher sentences with similar types of crimes. And then there's a lot of analysis and explanation in that. But then the argument becomes this, when people are opposed to this protest or this movement, is, well, this happens to white people too. Well, you're right. It does happen to white people. So why aren't you protesting that? Why don't you have a problem with that? If you're saying that, well, it happens to white people too, you're right. It does. So why the fuck aren't you doing something about it? And then the question becomes, well, should we do something about it? I think so, because this could happen to anyone. This could happen to any of us. This kind of shit is happening all the fucking time. This family could be your family. Could be anyone's family. And it doesn't even have to be your family. You don't even have to think about it in terms of somebody that you live with to empathize with another fucking human being who's held face down, a fucking 12-year-old on hot asphalt. Because these dipshits can't tell the difference between an SUV and a motorcycle. Because some dipshit didn't do their fucking job at the clerical office and write down the correct fucking... Like, it's your one fucking job. If you're not good at it, you're fired. Get the fuck out. Zero tolerance. Like, who is it? I think, it's either Chris Rock or Kevin Hart. He's like, yeah, we have a few bad eggs and sometimes people make mistakes. It's like, yeah, but airline pilots don't get to say that. Like, airline pilots don't get to say, yeah, sorry, we have a few bad apples, and sometimes they crash into mountains. It's either Chris Rock or Kevin Hart who said that joke. But this kind of shit happens, and if it happens to white people, then the question becomes, well, okay, what is the banner under which you protest? Because is it Black Lives Matter? I don't think so. I mean, Black Lives Matter is a movement, and it is kind of generally against police brutality, but it is not something that I see a lot of white people protesting police brutality under the banner of Black Lives Matter if it happens to a white person. So that it does need to be at some point, and I don't know when, but there does need to be at some point a more inclusive protest movement that isn't just using this label. Because this label, you would be astonished how many people are just turned off from this movement just because of the name. Because they don't understand it's not just Black Lives Matter. That's what people think. It's like, oh, it's just Black Lives Matter. No, that's not what it means. It means Black Lives Matter too, right? I forget, there was a tweet I read a while back that had a really succinct explanation of that. They said that the problem with this movement, the biggest problem is the name of the movement, because it turns off so many white people, because they say, well, you know, oh, white people matter too, all lives matter, blah, 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 right? But it's a complicated situation right now. It's too easy to dismiss the entire movement. It's too easy, and that's what a lot of people are doing. People are just simply pointing to things that they don't like, right? Like, actually, I did this right now. I'm showing you guys footage of cops doing their job badly. But there's tons of footage of cops doing their job well. And there's tons of cops that are doing their jobs well. I don't believe all cops are bastards. I think that by and large, cops are probably trying to do the right thing, but there is a lot of protection for cops when they don't do the right thing, when they do fuck up. And that's what needs to stop. And the people who need to be the loudest voices against that need to be the cops themselves. They need to hold themselves accountable. Because when your buddy fucks up and does this kind of shit, and you stay silent about it, you're complicit in it. This is the shit that's going on around America right now, and the shit that the reason that people are protesting the police and police brutality and authoritarianism. And this is not a small movement. I cannot emphasize this enough. The media hasn't even woken up to this. This isn't like some conspiracy thing. This isn't like some, overwhelming, overarching, like, oh, the government doesn't want you to know, man. The media is suppressing this. It's not anything like that. It's just that there is no comprehensive view of what's going on. Like, if I pull up this map over here, the Snapchat map of Beirut and whatever. Like, during the George Floyd protests, when it first started to break out, I was doing a news program on Twitch, and I was popping around all over the United States, and in every single major, and even in many parts minor city, every major and minor city was having a protest, and only a handful of them were covered on the news. In Los Angeles, there was a protest. After the initial protest happened, there was a protest of over 100,000 people out on the streets. It was mostly peaceful. In fact, I don't think that there was any violence that happened. I don't think there was any vandalism that happened. I don't think there was nothing happened. And it wasn't covered in the news, right? This is like 100,000 people protesting something, and the news doesn't even cover it. KTLA is our local news station, our local news affiliate. KTLA was running infomercials during this protest. They didn't even see it fit to cover. But just because they're not covering it doesn't mean it's not happening. These protests are happening constantly all around the country and all around the world. And it's not just America. It's not just Lebanon. It's not just Israel. It's everywhere. It's in Serbia. It's in Bulgaria. It's in Croatia. It's in Russia. It's in your fucking backyard. So there's something that's happening right now that nobody's really acknowledging and nobody's really covering in a very succinct and cohesive and comprehensive way. Except for me. Don't forget to subscribe. That's the biggest fucking pitch to a plug ever. No, but all joking aside, for real, this is a huge thing that we're on the verge of. We're on the precipice of possibly a global movement. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know what it's called, but something on a smaller scale happened already like this in the Middle East about 4 or 5 years ago during the Arab Spring. Or was it longer than that? Probably like 6 years ago during the Arab Spring. And it was just, I think it started in, where did it start? Where did the Arab Spring, Tunisia. Didn't it start in Tunisia? I think. Yeah, it was the Tunisian uprising, wasn't it? Anyway, that was the domino that started to, knock over other dominoes in the Middle East, led to the uprising in Egypt, led to the uprising in Libya and Syria, and there were some that were more successful than others, and some got quashed, and some were dealt with in a very authoritarian and heavy-handed, iron-fisted way. But we are kind of at the precipice of something big happening right now. And I don't even think that there's a real comprehensive view or understanding of it anywhere in the media. Nobody is covering it comprehensively. I'm trying my best. I'm trying to put all the pieces together. But if you really step outside and look at it at a global view, you start to see that this is some big shit that's happening all around the world. And I think it has a number of things that are leading into it. Partly because of the COVID pandemic. By and large, most countries, I would say, well, maybe not most, but approximately half or more have not handled it well. The U.S. is the prime example, followed by Brazil has not done a good job. Mexico has not done a good job. Spain has not done a good job. Italy, Germany's okay, I think. There's some countries in Europe that have done okay. South Korea's done well. Japan's done well. But by and large, a lot of countries haven't. And this economic impact that we're seeing right now is so much bigger than anyone even realizes right now. Like right now, thank God, like I'm in America and anyone else who's in America, it's a rich country and we have safety nets right now. We do. But who knows how long those safety nets will last? Because I'm seeing businesses go out of business left and right in Los Angeles. This is one of the biggest cities. I think we're the second biggest city in the United States, followed by New York, right? So if businesses here are shutting doors, I called the other day. I was just trying to go to, like, I don't go out anymore. I don't go to restaurants because they're closed. There's no place to go. There's nothing to do here. We're in Los Angeles, the second biggest city in the United States. There's nothing to do. Shit is shut down. So I called the other day just to make reservations at a restaurant because I didn't want to go wait in line with my mask on and all this other shit because I'm not leaving the house anymore. And I thought I'll just try going to a restaurant for once in a while, right? For once in months. So I called several different restaurants, a bunch of places that were new, a bunch of places that were old. All of them were closed. And I'm not just talking temporarily during the pandemic. I'm talking out of business, closed, like gone. There is a diner in Los Angeles, a very famous diner franchise that has shut their doors. It's one of a kind. There's nothing else like it in the world. They're gone. Coffee shops down the street from me, gone. Rug shops, salons, everything's closing doors right now, okay? So if you look at the linked economy of, say for example, let's just look at apparel, okay? One aspect of the economy, apparel. Apparel sales are way down. The U.S. GDP, I think, the latest I read some startling number the other day that said it had shrunk by 33%, right? Someone said that the Great Depression was a shrink of the GDP by 6%. What do you call a 33% drop in the GDP? What the fuck do you call that? If you just look at apparel, though, let's look at this example of apparel. So you have people who are buying less pants, less t-shirts and stuff. Let's just stick to pants, for example. So you have somebody who's not buying a pair of jeans anymore. Apparel sales are way down. So if you're buying that apparel from a store, that store orders that jean that you bought, and that jean requires some fabric. That fabric requires manufacturing. The manufacturing either comes from the U.S. or China. Either way, it's linked to some kind of economy. Some large economy is being hurt and impacted by that. So you have the jean manufacturers who are no longer making business with that. The apparel person is no longer shipping those pairs of pants to the store or to you through Amazon or whatever online storefront you buy it from. So if they're buying this material, they're shipping it to the store, they're selling it to you. Well, if that chain is broken, if you're no longer buying those pants, well, they're no longer ordering from that manufacturer. And on top of that, the shipping itself is an industry, right? To ship that pair of pants requires packing materials. So you go to the packing store or whatever manufacturer that produces packing materials. Well, now they're suffering because you're no longer buying those supplies. Now the manufacturer who produces packing materials says, oh God, the economy's slowing down. This person's no longer buying apparel. We used to sell a significant amount of packing material to this company that would ship the merchandise. That's gone. So now the packing person might be the end of the line in that link of the economy, right? That packing person now has less disposable income. Now that packing person who runs their little packing shop and sells merchandise, not merchandise, but shipping materials to merchandisers, has less disposable income to spend in the economy, to spend in society. Well, that might cause a drop in sales of local restaurants and local coffee shops, and here we are with this entire thing, and that's just one tiny aspect of the economy. Apparel is down, shipping is down, shipping materials is down, Material manufacturing is down. Local economies suffer. And this is just one tiny element I focused on. We're not even talking about the rest of the shit. There is a high-end kitchenware manufacturing, retail shop that is in town around me. And this place has shut down their doors as soon as COVID hit. And they were planning on reopening after 2 weeks. Because remember, back in March, right around March 13th or 17th, like is when most of the world went into lockdown. They initially told us it was going to be 2 weeks. Had we known then that it was not going to be a 2-week shutdown, many of these companies may have tried to liquidate their assets then and not spent another 2 months on rent, because the margins in big cities is very, very small because rent is very, very high. So you have to sell on volume to be able to pay your rent. And if that's not happening, the next thing you know, you wake up to a Great Depression. Now, what happens after the Great Depression? Well, they're already talking about evictions. Landlords are talking about evictions. What happens when you evict a bunch of people? You get a bunch of homeless people. Or you get people trying to move to different areas around the world, different areas around the country, different locations. But it's going to have a huge impact on housing. And at some point, if you have a whole bunch of people who are hungry, who don't have housing, they don't have resources, they don't have jobs, that starts to create resentment. And you're already seeing it. People are already kind of like picking up their pitchforks and they're pointing to the billionaires, right? There's a lot of really disturbing think pieces. There's a lot of really disturbing schools of thought and trains of thought that are pointing to billionaires and saying, why do they have it and we don't? Well, you know why they have it and you don't. It's because they have the business. It's like one of the last businesses that's going to stand is Amazon, because everybody's ordering everything from Amazon. When you can't go out, the one place that you can still order stuff from consistently is Amazon, because they don't have a storefront. Well, they do. They have some small ones here and there, but Amazon's going to weather the storm. Walmart, probably going to weather the storm. They have an online presence, right? They're able to ship the stuff. But all of the sales, all of that retail energy, all of that retail inventory, all that money that we used to spend in the economy in retail and brick and mortar shops is all being funneled into one point. And that point is Amazon. And that point is Walmart. And that point is online retail. And there's very few players. I mean, we got a lot of, online retail here and there. I have an online store. You can click on the link. There's another plug, but don't. I don't give a shit. Whatever. That's besides the point. The point is, there's only a handful of players right now. It's Amazon, Walmart. I don't know. What's the is Newegg still a thing? Tiger Direct, like for online retail? Well, that's creating a concentration of wealth into a very few hands. So we're going to see a greater wealth disparity. And that's when, historically, revolutions have happened. You have a whole bunch of people. You have like 90, 99% of the people who are the have-nots, and then you have like the 1% who are the haves. And there's this weird... It's almost like, Andrew Yang, when he was running for president, I don't know if you guys are familiar, for those of you who are not watching inside the United States, there's a presidential candidate, his name is Andrew Yang. And one of his big platform policies was universal basic income. And this is an idea that has been floated in different countries like Canada. Some cities have experimented with it. Universal basic income is the idea that at some point technology may outpace job growth. We may be able to replace most jobs with technology, right? So once that happens, there's going to be like we're kind of at an equilibrium right now. Pavish Babin, thanks for the 2, says Yang Gang. We're kind of at an equilibrium right now, but at some point, technology may outpace the ability for technology to create jobs, right? Technology is replacing, like for example, self-checkout cashiers at McDonald's. Like you can order from a kiosk. I hate these things. They're basically, you're just ordering from a vending machine. You hit a button, it produces your burger in the back, robots make your burger, spits it out. That eliminates a ton of low-end jobs. So the argument becomes that we need income in society, so we should have a universal basic income. That is the argument in Andrew Yang's, in Andrew Yang's platform. He was saying that we should have universal basic income. That seemed radical 3 years ago, 2-3 years ago, that seemed radical. People were saying that's socialism, it'll never work, it'll never catch on. Fast forward to this weekend. I believe it was just this weekend, like on Sunday. President Trump tweeted out an analysis. I believe it was from the Economist or Bloomberg, but it was basically an argument for universal basic income, and it was kind of castigating billionaires. And it was really interesting to see Donald Trump tweet that out of all people, because it was kind of socialistic. Like, the argument was like, why did the billionaires have so much money? It's like, well, you know why they have so much money. And it was almost like a weird roundabout argument for the redistribution of wealth and for universal basic income. And it's not something that's so radical now, because people from both sides of the aisle, conservatives and liberals, are both now entertaining this idea of universal basic income. So that may solve the problem on some level, or maybe not, who knows. But if you have that happening, that may quell the angry mobs. But if it doesn't happen, we may be on the precipice of a global revolution, which we've never seen before. This is the first time in history our economy and our communication network has been so robust, and in near real time you can know what's happening all the way around the world, right? So we're just waiting for the next domino to fall. We're on the verge, we're on the precipice of an Arab Spring, but worldwide, I think. Now, what if that doesn't happen? I don't know. It's too hard to predict. I'll tell you this much, though. One of the stopgap measures that America has tried to throw into the mix, like during COVID and everything that happened, was this idea of the $1,200 stimulus, right? The $1,200 stimulus, in my opinion, was one of the dumbest things that has ever happened in the United States. The government just issued everyone across the board, no matter who you were, no matter how much you make, no matter what walk of life you're in, no matter if you're employed or unemployed, $1,200, here you go, fuckface. Guys, I don't know if you know this, but Los Angeles, the average rent for like a one-bedroom apartment is like around $1,600, right? And $1,200 in Los Angeles will not even pay for 1 month of rent. But in Oklahoma, in Nebraska, in Wyoming, in Utah, in like some of the smaller states, the average rent is way lower. It's like $800-900. So that's like a good amount of money, right? $1,200 will get you some traction. In Colorado, some of these, like New Mexico, Santa Fe, some of these smaller cities and some smaller states, $1,200 goes a long way because they have a different economy. But $1,200 to somebody who lives on the coast, which, by the way, are most of the United States is concentrated, the population is concentrated inside these big cities, right? $1,200 is nothing. It's not going to, it's a drop in the bucket. So that $1,200, first of all, anyone who's rich and anyone who's still employed is going to take that $1,200 and just bank it. They're just going to take it, put it in the bank. They don't need to spend it. It's just going in their savings account. But the people who are fucking poor and unemployed and devastated and laid off by COVID and the downturn in the economy, they need that money. And what are they going to do with that money? They're going to go out and spend it on groceries. They're going to spend it on health insurance. They're going to spend it on utilities. They're going to spend it on their basic needs. They're going to spend it on non-durable goods. This is the big difference between people who are rich and people who are lower to middle income class, right? People who are lower to middle income class are spending their money on non-durable goods. What are non-durable goods? Those are things like Tupperware, clothes, toys, things around the house, appliances. Those are non-durable goods. Non-durable meaning they don't last. You have to, like I just fucking bought a vacuum like 2 years ago. Fucking lithium battery's already dead. It's not holding a charge. That's a non-durable good. I have to replace that vacuum cleaner. Well, what are durable goods? Those are things like cars, houses, boats, helicopters, jets, airplanes. Those are durable goods. Those are things you pay millions of dollars for or hundreds of thousands of dollars for, and they last you a while. You know, you're like Jay Leno. Like Jay Leno has an entire garage filled with durable goods. He's a huge car collector. Each one of those cars is a durable good because it just lasts and it just sits in a garage and the wealth just keeps accumulating there, right? So rich people who receive $1,200 stimulus checks aren't spending it. They're not pouring that back into the economy. They're just putting it back into their safety deposit box or their safety net, their savings account, and they're just saving that money. That's not stimulating the economy. So just at a very basic level, just a very fucking fundamental level, this was a stupid thing to just give blanket $1,200. But then if you don't, then of course you're going to get people griping. Everyone, like they have to say all or nothing, right? People are going to gripe if they don't get their $1,200. But what they could have done instead of that $1,200 is just across the, how about this? How about this? How about it just across the board say, we're going to cover utilities this month, all right? That actually makes a significant impact for people who really need it. Rather than just giving $1,200 to some rich guy or someone who's still employed who can afford to pay their utilities, if you're paying for everybody's utilities, it's going to impact the rich guy less, but it's going to impact the poor person more, right? Because they have to spend a certain amount of their disposable income towards utilities. Basically, this $1,200 is being spent by these people. It's going right into the pocket of landlords, into the pocket of grocers, and into the pocket of small retail and things like that here and there. And that $1,200 is absolutely not enough. It's not adequate. So many people are unemployed, and the problem is only going to get worse. I have never seen it so bleak in my life. And I'm generally an optimist. I know I talk a lot of shit, and I'm, a super genius, and I have very keen insight, But how's that for analysis? Anyway, I've been going on a fucking rant here. I wasn't planning on doing that now. Merrick Ribowitz says, oh, so Maddox is Destiny now. Great. Shut up, Merrick. Patrick Christensen says, it's like Maddox has never actually read any political analysis in his life. This is very surface level and really missing the bigger picture. Okay, Patrick, why don't you fucking give us your insight then? You could have expounded upon your beliefs there, Patrick. Instead, you just gave me this very shallow criticism of my very brilliant ranting. Go ahead, Patrick. Give me your analysis, and I'm happy to read it for you. Do it right now. I'll do that right now. Let me read some of these comments. Dirk McKirk says, you're absolutely right, Maddox. Damn right, Dirk McKirk. In Jones Fortran... Oh, gosh. Okay, I'm not even going to read that shit. Tristan Numerono says... Okay, I'm not going to read any of this. Just in YouTube chat? Yep. Oh, Patrick. Oh, sorry. You can't do it in YouTube chat? I thought you had such brilliant political analysis. Why don't you just give me one morsel of wisdom, Patrick? Why don't you pick out one thing that I said that you disagree with, and then criticize me, right? And then give me the correct criticism. Tell me how I was wrong, and then give me the correct version of what I said. All right? Why don't you just say start there, Patrick? Patrick says big companies bad. I didn't say that, dipshit. When did I say that? I said that's the zeitgeist right now. I didn't say big companies bad, because any company that you start to, okay, let's say we're going to come after Amazon. Let's take their money. Great. Then what? Like, if you redistribute that wealth, then what? Some other company becomes big, and then they become the next Amazon? Like, I don't think that's necessarily the answer. But there is a middle ground here. There's a middle. I didn't say big companies bad. I'm not like fucking anti-capitalist, and I'm not like 100% pro either. Like, there's some middle ground, right? We're not in a purely capitalistic society. We have safety nets. We have Social Security. We have Medicare. We have social networks. We have public roads. We have public parks. We have public property. These are things I'm not opposed to. But at the same time, I've never seen a socialist society work. Like, especially not nearly as good as the one we're in now. By the way, I was just thinking about this the other day. Like, let's talk about socialism for a minute, right? Let's look at video games. Can you guys think of a single fucking video game that has a working, successful, functional, socialist economic model? Like, think of an RPG. When you walk into a fucking sword shop in a role-playing game, and you want to buy a sword to beat the dragon, does the store owner say, to each according to his needs and from each according to his abilities? No! The shop owner says 300 gold. Do you want the sword or not? And you buy it or you fuck off. Like, that's it. There is no such thing as a socialist store in a fucking RPG. And as soon as I see a functional one that makes sense and it works, great. Maybe I'll look at the socialist model again. But there's never been like a successful socialist model. But at the same time, there's never been like a purely socialist. I mean, of course there has, but I guess in China right now, China's a big example of like socialism, right? But socialism, like China is not entirely socialist. If you've ever flown to China, you step out of the airplane in the airport in Beijing, and you see like a Burger King and a Pizza Hut and a McDonald's, and they're all selling things and they're all competing with one another. Like, it's not purely socialistic. Can't Cure Cancer says, do you regret your video on coronavirus? No, why would I regret my video on coronavirus? It's fucking great. I watched it again the other day. It fucking totally holds up. Maybe the mortality rate might be adjusted a little bit lower since the video came out, but it's pretty spot on, especially my analysis. You guys should all fucking watch that shit. You should all watch my coronavirus video. It totally holds up. It's great. Quacker2 says, I love you, Maddox. You're welcome, Quacker. Dix Van Dyke says, do you play on a synthesizer? Yeah, I've actually been experimenting with synth music as well. No, not says communism with Chinese characteristics is not socialism at all. Okay, like, I don't want to get into this fucking semantic bullshit with you guys. Derek Alexander says China isn't socialist, it's communist, you goober. No, it's not, Derek. No, it's not. Why don't you get a fucking clue? Crackerjack says, Maddox, why are we talking about McDonald's in the States when your intended topic is Beirut explosion? Crackerjack, where the fuck have you been for the last 2 hours? Oh shit, I gotta hop off actually. I got a fucking meeting in about 30 minutes. I started this whole fucking thing about Beirut. We did the Beirut shit for like 2 hours. And then I talked about the Aurora police. You've been missing out, man. Now we moved on to COVID. Can't Cure Cancer says, a sample size of one cruise ship is how you arrived at your mortality rate. Can't Cure Cancer, listen, don't be such a dullard, okay? Here's why that cruise ship data is important, okay? When you have Spain and Italy and Germany and Romania and Russia and America, all these different countries are reporting their data differently. And you don't have an entire population of people that you can control the variables for. On that cruise ship, you can control the variables, right? You can, as much as you possibly can, a cruise ship is like a small city that you're able to control every single variable as much as you possibly can. That data, as small as that sample size was, is crucial because at least they're able to look at the number of people who are infected, know whether or not it was airborne, know what the mortality rate was approximately across the different population sizes. Yeah, it's not perfect, but you can extrapolate that data to a larger data set. It's much more than it's much better than some of the different reporting that we have right now. Like, one of the worst things I've ever seen floating around in terms of coronavirus reporting is this map that shows all the deaths across the world by country. It's like, oh, the United States has this many deaths, and Japan has this many, but it's not per capita. Unless you're looking at per capita deaths, you're not even comparing apples to apples. You're not looking at, like, of course, the United States is going to have more deaths than Ukraine or Denmark because we have 20 million people versus what is like Norway's like 10 million, Sweden's like 10 million, Finland's like 10 million. You need to first of all do a per capita comparison. A lot of news reports, a lot of journalists, a lot of outlets aren't even doing fucking per capita, right? Then once you get to per capita, then you also have to look at the way that the countries report their testing. Some countries report tests per person, and some countries report total tests given. Those are two different numbers. Here's why. Tests per person means if you are a person who has symptoms or not, and you get tested, that counts as one report. But if you get tests total, regardless of per person or not, so if you get tested multiple times, which journalists do, people who travel do, people who work in healthcare do, they have to get tested every few days or every few weeks constantly, right? Some people have been tested 20, 30 times already. I have a friend who's a journalist. She's been tested 30 times because she's traveling a lot. Do you report that as one test because one person has been tested, right? Or do you report it as 30 tests? Well, if you report it as 30 tests, what does that do to your data? How are you reporting your data? Are you reporting it positivity rate per test, right? Because then that dilutes the total number of tests, right? The total pool of tests. If you have 10 people and they're each tested 30 times, it's 300 tests. So if you have 3 positive, that's less than, like, what, 1%, right? Or less than 1%, something like that. It's if you versus if you have 10 people, they've all been tested regardless of the number of times. If one person's positive, that's a 10% positivity rate. So it gets complicated. That's why the cruise ship data is important. Fuckface. don't fucking question my shit. You fucking read a book for once. Let's see. Doom Paul says the per capita is very beginner level stuff. What we should care about is the total potential life years lost compared to the life expectancy, and mostly we don't see that. Well, I mean, we don't see so many years lost. Man, I don't know. Yeah, bad mother pucker says Maddox, the SJW. How am I an SJW, dipshit? Man, I haven't had this kind of interaction in a while. Edgar Decker says, Maddox, what do you think about the hydroxychloroquine arguments? It's dumb as shit, man. It's dumb as shit. Like, if hydroxychloroquine worked, everyone would be fucking taken. Are you fucking kidding me? Doctors have families. Doctors care about their families. Doctors don't want their families to die. If hydroxychloroquine worked, doctors would be prescribing that shit like crazy to their own fucking families, but they're not, because that shit doesn't fucking work. And in fact, I mean, look, I read this study that said that maybe hydroxychloroquine has a positive impact on some people if given early enough, right? Okay, fine. But it was the study that I read had a small sample size, and also it had a small sample size, but also wasn't very conclusive. It wasn't like a cure. It didn't solve the problem. A lot like people inside that sample size still died at approximately the rates that the general population are dying. If this didn't have any adverse side effects, if you're able to take hydroxychloroquine and just give it a shot, fuck it, take it, knock yourselves out. But it's not something that doesn't have adverse side effects. It's giving people arrhythmia issues. It's causing side effects. It's causing shit. I'm blanking on it. I read this whole fucking article the other day that talked about all the side effects of hydroxychloroquine. I'm blanking on it though. Arrhythmia is one of them. It's a big one. Arrhythmia, palpitations, heart attacks, shit like it's not a risk-free drug. If it was, I'd be fucking popping it like Tic Tacs. Who gives a shit? Yeah, fucking shove hydroxy right up my ass. Like, I don't care. But it's not something that doesn't have side effects. Besides, there's another what's that other drug? There's another drug that's even more promising that no one's even fucking talking about. But if we had a cure for this shit, don't you think that fucking everyone would know about it? Don't you think everyone would be taking this shit like crazy? Don't you think doctors would be prescribing that shit to their own fucking families? Oh no, it's a conspiracy. We're trying to suppress hydroxy for the elections. It's the dumb shit argument I've ever heard. You guys are idiots. All right, let's read some more comments. And I gotta hop off. I got a meeting. Yeah, that's the one, Dirk McKirk. Remdesivir. It's not resveratrol, Edgar. Yeah, Krogan. It's remdesivir. Remdesivir, I think is how it's pronounced. Yeah, remdesivir is the one that seems a lot more promising. And even that's not a cure, but whatever. I saw Stan Morris earlier in the chat room. What's up, Stan? Stan the Man Morris. Stan Morris from NEA Report. That guy's great. What about the doctors who are prescribing it, though? What about them, engines? Oh, you mean the fucking quacks that had that press conference the other day? Those fucking the demon seed lady. By the way, I looked up that guy. There's one of these doctors who. Let me see if I can find this tweet. I want to show you guys this tweet. One of the doctors. Let's see if I can go to Twitter and find this tweet. One of the doctors who tweeted out the cure for the hydroxychloroquine. I got to show you guys this stuff. From Maddox Rules. Let's see. It's one of the tweets I found. One of the doctors who prescribed this stuff. Yeah, here it is. Dr. Brian C. Porter. Okay, I'm going to put this up on the screen, see if you guys can see that. All right, is that on the screen? Yeah, it is. Okay, cool. So this is from one of the doctors pushing the America Frontline Doctors conspiracy that went viral the other day. Like, these doctors who are prescribing this shit. Look at this guy. So he was... I looked at... Actually, one of my friends looked at all the doctors. That website, by the way, America's Frontline Doctors. Let's see, americasfrontlinedoctors.com. America's Frontline Doctors. This website, America's Frontline Doctors, americasfrontlinedoctors.com. This is really funny. Let's see what happens if you go to the domain. All right, let's go ahead and look at the list of doctors at americasfrontlinedoctors.com. Let's check out the website. Let's just take a look. Well, what's that? Website expired. This account is expired. If you're the site owner, click below to log in. Cool. Wow. Seems real real credible, real trustworthy, real great. americasfrontlinedoctors.com. Awesome website. Website expired, dipshits. So my friend looked into it. One of them is like a pediatrician. One of them is an orthopedic doctor. These aren't like any doctors with any specialized virology medicine or anything like that. Okay, but this guy, Brian C. Proctor, MD. So I looked at one of these doctors. This guy wasn't even in the press conference. And I just looked at his fucking timeline the other day. Because I was like, who is this guy? Why is he prescribing all this shit? This Brian C. Proctor guy, right? And I looked at his timeline, and he's got all sorts of crazy shit about hydroxychloroquine and all the shit. He's posting conspiracy theories about, what's her name, Ilhan Omar? So here's this tweet. He's retweeting it to Donald Trump. This guy's just like a fucking, and I don't even like to use this word grifter, but like he's grifting. Like he's just trying to appeal to this very far-right ideology where they're trying to get people riled up here. But he's like tweeting this at Donald Trump, and it's a conspiracy that says, "Here's your precious Muslim congresswoman at an Al Qaeda training camp in Somalia. She is trying to get this picture blocked and me banned for posting it. Facebook has banned me twice because this pic is considered offensive? ? Repost the shit out of this photo." And it's a picture of allegedly Ilhan Omar at a at a training camp. But it's false. This didn't happen. This picture is from 1978. For comparison, Ilhan Omar was not even born until 1982. So here's the picture, right? Here's the picture. It says Ilhan Omar, circa 1993. She needs to go. Okay, even if this was circa 1993, which it wasn't, she was born in 1982, so she would be 11 years old in the time of this picture. But it's not. This picture is from the AP archives. This picture came from 1978 in the AP archives, and here it is in the AP Images archive. Somalia Military Forces, and the picture was taken. Creation date February 25th, 1978. Submission date, February 8th, 2016. Photographers Tompkins, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it's been debunked years ago. So one of these doctors, these frontline doctors who's prescribing hydroxychloroquine, this expert, this fucking real smart guy. Let me see if I can find his Twitter account. It's real funny, too. Let me see if I can find this. Yeah, Proctor MD. Okay, here it is. So here's the dude's Twitter account. Let's look at this guy's fucking timeline. It is a mess. Brian Proctor, MD, says, early effective treatment is available for COVID-19. My data supports this. So he's retweeting one of his own things here. Here's 20 hours ago. He keeps tweeting this fucking whiteboard of, like, supposedly the patient. Look, okay, I want you guys to all follow along with me here. All right, pull up your calculators, and then I got to hop off. But pull up your calculators here and do the math with me, okay? Total tested, 661. Positives, 190. Negatives, 468. False negatives, and this is weird. It's unclear what he's talking about here with false negatives. 118. So the false negative should be a positive then, right? If it's a false negative, is that then just a positive? Because if so, that's the majority of his positives. Anyway, I don't want to speculate too much about that. Total treated, 312. Current cases, 57. Hospitalizations, 2. Deaths, 1. Okay. So 1 out of 190. Let's do the math. 1 divided by 190 equals 0.005, right? So that's 1/2 of 1%. Guess what the fucking mortality rate is of coronavirus, dipshits? It's 0.05%. It's 1/2 of 1%. So his results here with hydroxychloroquine, this dipshit touting this as a fucking cure to hydroxychloroquine, his mortality rate is the same mortality rate as COVID. It's the exact same. And by the way, you want to talk about a small fucking sample size? Here's your small fucking sample size of 190 positive cases, 1 death. That's the same mortality rate as the general population, dipshits. Total recovered 255. AWR means awaiting recovery or awaiting results. That's what it stands for. Awaiting results is 3 right here. But total deaths is 1. Out of a population of 190 positives. That's the same fucking general mortality rate as the general population. Sample size of 2. Come on now, Maddox. What are you talking about? Can't cure cancer. Jesus Swaggy says, Maddox, you're gonna miss your very important meeting. Yeah, I should hop off. And then he says here, clarification, there is no cure for COVID. Oh, now he's clarifying. Okay, thank you, Dr. Proctor. He says, clarification, there is no cure for COVID. However, I believe there is treatment available that substantially alleviates symptoms and reduces the severity of the disease and shortens its course, which when used early on the same disease, less than 7 days, is much more effective. Now, there could be some merit to that, but from what I've read, that's not the case. Like, there was a celebrity who came out and she's like, look, I tried hydroxychloroquine. She didn't have an agenda. She seemed like kind of apolitical. She's like, I tried it. She said, I eventually got better, but my symptoms lasted about as long as most people are saying their symptoms last. And it didn't make me like feel any better. She said that I felt terrible the entire time, and I can't tell if I healed on my own or if I healed from taking hydroxy. COVID-19 update, 35% of patients experience life-altering symptoms for a week after diagnosis. That's consistent with the general population. 20% of patients 18 to 34 are experiencing life-altering symptoms a week later. So these patients are likely contagious that entire time. Better if treat early in FB jail for 7 days. So this guy's a conspiracy theorist, right? This guy's an idiot. He's like, oh, I'm in Facebook jail because I keep pushing this. Because you're a fucking a quack, dude. This guy's a fucking bozo. So if you go down his timeline, this is the guy. He posted his fucking video on BitChute because it keeps getting deleted on Facebook because he's pushing this fucking unproven treatment, right? With the same mortality rate as the general population. But then the further down his timeline you go, you find more and more crazy shit. Like this opinion, the politics of hydroxychloroquine. Okay, this is July 16th. He's pushing that shit. But if you go before that whole... okay, he's posting here a supposed study here. He's saying Proctor Manual Protocol for Reopening America. So he's trying to push this as his protocol for, quote, reopening America. Which, by the way, is not... It sounds like a political statement. It's not like a fucking medical prognosis. But... He's saying, treat all suspected cases early with hydroxychloroquine, AZI, and zinc. Prophylactic HCQ, 1 pill every other week for all high-risk patients and occupants, teachers, healthcare, flight crew, nursing homes, 60 euros, voluntarily. Okay, thank you. Thank you, doctor. So this is demographic adjusted deaths per million. Okay, at least that's a... Okay, it says early hydroxychloroquine use. He's pointing to data from Turkey, India, Indonesia, Morocco, and Malaysia. Which, those countries alone, you have to control for so many different variables than just population. It's just dumb. And he doesn't post to his sources. Here it is. Pelosi endorses America hating anti-Semite. And then further down you go, principles of internal medicine. He's posting. What is he saying here? Prevented by by chloroquine, an agent that blocks the function of lysomes. Chloroquine is a weak base that diffuse. Okay, honestly, I can't speak to that medical jargon. I don't know enough about that, so I can't speak to that. But if you look at the rest of his timeline, it's all conspiracy shit. It's a bunch of, like, yeah, here it is. Here's the tweets. We have Ilhan Omar, an Al-Qaeda terrorist operative in Congress. Get your shit together, Minnesota. What the fuck? And he tweets at all these, like, Candace Owens, Governor Mike Huckabee, Senator Ted Cruz, all these, like, right-wing, like, real James Woods. Jim Martin, Greg Jarrett. He's like tweeting at all these people, trying to get, like, he's just trying to get publicity. He's a fucking grifter, I think. And then he posts here a screenshot of him buying Candace Owens' book, 2 of Blackout: How Black America Can Make Its Second Escape from the Democrat Plantation. Candace Owens. Oh man. Anyway, that's one of these frontline doctors. He wasn't like one of the doctors on the panel, but he's like pushing this bullshit. This is just one of these guys. If you just like scratch beneath the surface on any of these guys, all their bullshit falls apart. Matt Cox says, hey Maddox, why are you streaming on YouTube and not Twitch? I thought I'd give YouTube a try today. Fuck, I was going to do something fun. I was going to have you guys tweet the names of bands at me, and I would tell you whether or not I would listen to them based only on the name, but I don't have fucking time. I gotta run. I gotta go. I guess there's no such thing as rating on YouTube, is there? Anyway, guys, let me know what you think. Tweet at me. Let me know what you think. I may do more of these if you guys dig it. Follow me on Twitch, though. I've been streaming on Twitch 3 times a week, sometimes 4. My uncle Oxmad, who's a cowboy, streams on my channel, and same with my nephew, Banana Dogs. He's a real good dude. But let me go ahead and hide that. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'll be back at some point. I don't know, what the fuck day is it? Oh, it's Tuesday. Holy shit, I thought it was Friday. Okay, anyway, guys, that's it. I'll be back some other time. Let me know what you think. I'll do more of these streams at some point. Thank you all for the super chats and everything. Thank you, Shiv 'em Up. Thank you, Jesus Swaggy. I'll be doing more streams. Thank you, Edgar Decker. Spread the word. If you guys like this shit, spread the word. And maybe we'll do more of these. I don't know. We'll see. All right.